Yes, this is an IBM computer, but no, this is not your typical downtown computer store. This is a Sears store in a suburban shopping center with sewing machines over there and furniture over there and an IBM PS1 computer over here. With the business market saturated, the big boys are trying to resurrect the once dead home computer market. Will it work? Well, we'll find out today as we take a look at the rebirth of the home computer on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by the Software Publishers Association, which reminds you it's a federal offense to copy software. The SPA provides information on how to stay software legal. Funding is also provided by PC Connection and Mac Connection, and by Byte Magazine and Bix.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet, and with me this week is Seymour Mern, publisher of the Channel Marker Industry Newsletter. And Seymour, you probably recognize all this stuff here. The original Radio Shack Model 1 from about 12 years ago, I guess a home computer. And then, of course, we know about the PC Junior, a kind of failed home computer, which came out about 8 years ago. All of a sudden, again, in 1990, everybody's talking about the home computer market. Is there really a home computer market?
Oh, the home computer market is a healthy, thriving market. There are somewhere between 17 and 24 million computers in the home. I think what we're talking about now is trying to get at some of those people who don't have a computer in the home, and these people need very different types of computers. Those that are ready in the home and those people bringing business from home want a full function, bigger machine that does everything. These new machines, as we will see, all have the ability to have a very simple interface for the new user that does simple functions around the house. And no, they're not full function, but they sure are nice and exquisite.
All right, today we'll take a look at several of the new entries in this new home computer marketplace. We'll get to see the new IBM PS1, the Tandy 1000 TL2, the Magnavox Head Start 300, and the new low-cost Macintosh computers from Apple. Now, one of the problems with the home computer market is that maybe home is not a very good adjective for describing it. We're going to begin with a visit to the computer consulting firm DataQuest to find out how they're defining this new computer market.
Personal computer makers are gambling once again that American consumers would like to add a PC to their list of electronic home appliances. But this time around, the industry is hoping to avoid the mistakes of 5 years ago when they also tried to establish the home computer market.
The expectation of the consumer was built up as to all of these fantastic things that he could do with the computer. He was told he could do his banking, he could do his grocery shopping, he could do all of these things. And in reality, the systems just weren't in place for that to be able to happen. I think the hardware wasn't available, the networks weren't available, the expense was too great.
This time around, the computer manufacturers seem to have done a better job on their homework. According to DataQuest, there is a resurging home computer market because more people are using computers at work and then bringing their work home. That has led to more computer literate consumers and more of a need for a home computer. DataQuest analysts say price ranks as the top consideration for buyers considering a home computer, but they say users also want a machine that can run business-type programs like a word processor and a spreadsheet, in addition to playing games and offering educational opportunities for their children. The new home computers on the market all seem ready to meet the buyer's expectations, and DataQuest predicts that some $10 billion worth of home computers will be sold this year. That would represent an annual growth rate in the home computer market of 25%.
I think the key to their success is going to be very definitely providing what the consumer is looking for, whether that's ease of use, whether that's price, whether that's performance, whether that's compatibility with what they're using in some other aspect of their lives. But I think it's primarily listening to the consumer.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Kate McGargy.
The talk of the new home computer market really started this past summer when IBM introduced the PS1. Here to show us what it can do is Skip Gladfelder, marketing manager with IBM. Seymour?
Skip, after the big debacle, so to speak, of the PC Junior, why does IBM think it's going to be successful at the PS1?
Seymour, we've really done our homework on this computer, the one. We've talked to almost 3,000 families who were just purchasing a computer or were in the process of shopping for one. And they gave us a shopping list of things they wanted. And so we took our shopping cart and ran it through IBM. They wanted a computer that's powerful enough to run all the latest software, but simple enough for everybody in the family to use, and expandable when they get it home, and when it breaks, they want the manufacturer to give them support. So we set out with kind of that shopping list to go through. And what we've done is included the PS1 in all in one box. It fits in most automobile trunks, so when you buy it, you can take it all home. It includes a VGA display, the systems unit, a full-fledged 101-key keyboard, mouse, and a 2400 baud modem from a hardware standpoint, and then all of the software, which I'm going to show you, is already preloaded on the hard file. When you turn the system on, it all comes up and you see this 4-quadrant screen in front of
Skip,
you.
run us through the interface, and certainly for a new user, that's the key issue in figuring out how to use this.
Okay, well, first of all, it's mouse and keyboard usable, but it starts really from the simple to the complex. It starts with information, goes to Microsoft Works, adding your software, and then to the more technical things, IBM DOS. Let me just click on information here. When you click on information, it gives you access to the 2 built-in lessons, the systems tutorial and the works tutorial, and it also gives you the Users Club and Prodigy. Now, the Users Club is in there. It runs under Prodigy to give you answers to questions if you get stuck. For just a second here, I'll take you into the systems tutorial. A beginning computer user would go through this tutorial. It takes about an hour to go through.
Now, Skip, is this designed, you think, so a person could work this and never have to read a manual? Is that the
Absolutely, point? Absolutely. Our experience is that over half of the people don't, even the novices,
right.
don't even look at the material in the box. Our instruction manual is only 14 pages long.
So this is really an online manual?
It's an online manual, that's right. So it gives you an introduction to computers, the hardware, the software, systems care, and even an index of phrases. Just to give you an idea of how in the hardware section, teaches you how to use a mouse, how to use the keyboard, and how you translate typewriter talk to computer talk. The display, the systems unit, and the options. Under options, it actually takes you through how you can grow the system when you get it home. For example, you can grow the system by putting the audio joystick package, which even hooks to MIDI instruments, which is very
and
popular.
all of this you can buy through Prodigy without ever leaving the computer keyboard, right?
And you can buy it in all the retail stores. You can expand the memory, it's just like a credit card. Just plug it right in the front of the product. Of course, additional floppy disk and hard file. 5 1/4 inch diskette drives are also available for it. And last, you can put a slice underneath the computer. It's like a stereo system where you can put an expansion chassis and put standard AT cards.
Skip, I don't want to run out of time. Let's get back to your basic opening menu there and briefly show us what those other options are.
Now, of course, next is Microsoft Works, the most popular integrated software package, word processor, spreadsheet, database, and communications. Works 2.0, yeah. And then down here under your software, this was a section that they asked specifically for. They don't understand directories and subdirectories. They don't understand executable and non-executable files.
Who does?
So when you click on your software, it gives you around the screen all the choices you need to start the different kinds of software. There's the DOS prompt, there's the C, there's the A, there's the C slate. And once you load a new piece of software, it makes a folder for it and shows you what you can execute out of it. As a matter of fact, there's some photos in here that really show off the VGA display. This display, we've trademarked the name on this display, the IBM photographic display. It's just spectacular.
What about that last window now? We're going to have to wrap up the fourth basic choice that the user has when he opens up here.
Fourth basic choice is DOS 4.01R, and this shows you the DOS shell. It's all in plain English, regular computer English, and you can even come in here and customize how your system starts, and we've even shipped basic programming language.
Skip, real quick, what's the price point here? What are we talking about for somebody who wants to buy a PS1?
$999 to $1999. The most popular model, about 70% of the people are buying the $1999 model,
which is what you're showing us
which is a color hard file model.
All right, thanks very much. Well, one of the most successful home computers of all time was certainly the old Commodore 64. It came out back in 1982, and there are still millions of loyal C64 users. We have a report.
A Toys R Us store is a mecca for children, a place to buy games and toys. But there are more than just toys here. Tucked away in one of the aisles is the computer department and the good old Commodore 64. This granddaddy of home computers has withstood the test of time. Since its introduction in 1982, it has sold over 10 million units. That makes the C64 still the computer with the largest installed user base. Scott Lytle owns a Commodore 64, and he says there is a good reason why the C64 has survived as the most popular home computer.
I think because it's a fairly easy computer to use. You don't need to know MS-DOS like IBM you do, and it's just an overall user-friendly computer.
The 64K limit of the Commodore seems primitive in these days of 1 megabyte personal computers, but the good old C64 can hold its own running spreadsheets, databases, and word processors. And for the kid in you, the Commodore 64 has always been a great game machine with color and sound. The life of the C64 was also extended a few years ago when Berkeley Softworks came out with the GEOS, a graphical user interface and operating system for the Commodore, which expanded its use into desktop publishing and graphics. But the real strength of the C64 comes down to two basic features.
A lot of the other systems, for me, are a little too expensive, and Commodore's an inexpensive way to get started in computing. Besides the price, I like the availability of software. There's lots of titles to choose from.
More than 2,000 retail outlets still sell the Commodore 64. This particular store sells about 5 a month. And while you can't expect to find much customer support at a store like this, there is still a 24-hour toll-free customer support line for the good old Commodore 64. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Kate McGargy.
The revived home computer market is drawing the attention of several industry giants like Tandy and Philips. Joining us now is Tim White of Radio Shack and Frank Muniz of Magnavox.
Tim, we just saw IBM show us their new PS1 with their interface. How does your DeskMate interface differ from IBM's?
Well, one of the main differences between the DeskMate interface and the IBM's is it's consistent throughout. The user only has to learn one interface. Several software manufacturers are developing software under the DeskMate interface, such as Lotus, Q&A Write, Quicken. There are a myriad of others. And once the user has learned the DeskMate interface, learning these other programs is very simple because it's standard throughout.
Tim, is DeskMate an environment in which you do have to have compatible software? I mean, you can't run any old piece of software under DeskMate?
You can run any PC-compatible software under DeskMate, execute a particular file within that software, and then when you're done with the software, you come back to the DeskMate desktop.
All right, run us through the interface. I see you have it up on the screen now.
Okay, first of all, DOS and the DeskMate shell are built into ROM. Most of the common DOS functions are built into the machine so that the user doesn't have to use the cryptic DOS language, copy, delete, rename, changing directory, creating a directory, formatting and copying diskettes. Those are all built into the desktop so that the customer doesn't have to use or learn those DOS functions. Go into the text function, which is one of the DeskMate pieces of software. In addition to the interface, we have text, we have an address book, a calendar, PC link, we have draw down here, music and sound. There are a total of 10 different programs that come with DeskMate. Okay, we go in, we can execute actually the file rather than having to go into the program and then pull the file up. The artwork here was done with the DeskMate Draw program. We've set up a mail merge document for this particular person that will then merge with the address book and generate a personalized letter to each person. We'll quickly take you through a couple of the other functions. The calendar function is one that's particularly useful. I can look here at my daily schedule either in a monthly format. You notice here that my timeline shows where I have scheduled time. I can also look at a weekly format. The shaded areas show where I'm scheduled, or a daily itinerary. Okay, and these can be edited. There's an alarm that's associated with it for upcoming appointments, etc.
Tim, I want you to show me one particular interesting feature of this machine is the sound capability. In fact, in which you can edit sound in this, can't you?
Yes. The machine has a built-in digital to analog converter, so the sound capabilities are really quite interesting in it. We'll come down here to our test, something that we did a little earlier. And we can play this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So you have a sampler, if you will, built into this particular machine.
Correct. Input and output.
Yeah.
And you can cut this and put it on something else and send it to a tape?
Mm-hmm.
So we have an editing capability.
Right.
Yeah, Frank, I want to turn now to you, and you've got another approach yet now to this home computer. Tell us a little bit about the thinking and the philosophy behind the Head Start.
Well, the Head Start is truly designed to be very easy to set up, easy to use, and be a complete package. So when the customer gets home with the product, they have everything they possibly need to get up and running real quickly.
All right, so what's your approach to the interface?
The approach to our interface is what we call the Head Start environment. This environment allows for anywhere you may wish to go on the hard drive, you can select different options. Up here we have applications. Under applications, the system comes bundled with 16 top-rated pieces of software, such as Quattro, Q&A 3.0.
Is that pre-installed, this stuff?
No, it is not. Q&A 3.0, Publish It, Deluxe Paint 2, and quite a few other pieces of software. It also includes Prodigy. Under pop-ups, you have the ability of pulling up calendars and date books and things such as that. Under setup, you can actually go in and change the screen sizing, make the environment look how you'd prefer it to look versus how it comes out of the box. And under utilities, since many people are afraid of using DOS, here they can come and log a different disk, such as an A drive. They can format, copy, rename, delete, and perform most of the DOS functions right from the environment.
Frank, one of the features I want you to show us is the ability to move about from one application to another within this interface. And I think you have a Paint to Publish example you can show us.
That is correct. What I can do is go into Deluxe Paint 2, which is a graphics drawing program. I'm going to go up
and that's part of the bundled package?
This is part of the system. And I can load a particular picture. And what I can do is capture this picture.
And what kind of display do we have? This is VGA?
This is VGA, correct. What I can do is capture this picture and go back to the Head Start environment. And now we will pull in Publish It. What this is going to allow us to do is actually combine a spreadsheet, a database, word processing, or graphics, which are all included with the system, in a desktop publishing format so that a person could actually create their own letterheads, logos. And I'm going to open.
And you can pull up that graphic.
Correct.
That you created in the Paint program. Gentlemen, quickly to get an idea of where we are price-wise here. Tim, what's the cost, and real quick, what's the hardware inside this TL2?
Okay, it's a 286 base machine with 20 megabyte hard drive, CGA monitor, $16.98 retail.
Okay, Frank?
The version we have here, the Head Start 300, is $19.95 suggested retail. We also have the same machine with CD-ROM capability, which is $24.99.
Okay,
this is a 286 based. We also have it in 386 SX.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. In just a minute, we'll show you 3 new Macintosh computers as Apple tries its hand at the newly defined home market. Stay with us. A new product from Apple is always an event, and this time around there are 3 new Macintosh computers. Here to show them off is Karen Ebert, Apple Product Manager. Seymour.
Karen, these are 3 beautiful machines. You know, what's the difference between them and how do they relate to the home market?
Well, we see all 3 of these new Macintoshes as fitting into the home market as well as in schools and businesses. We don't believe that one size fits all, so we think all of them will be very useful. Starting on the left is the Macintosh Classic. That is the most affordable Macintosh we've ever offered, and it starts for $9.99 retail price. It's a complete redesign of our most popular Macintosh SE with the same level of power. Then in the middle is the Macintosh LC. That's the lowest cost color Macintosh, and it's modular. You have a choice of monitors, and we have built-in monitor support. All you need to do is plug in the cables, and you're ready to go. Actually,
what's the price level at the LC?
That's $24.99, and that monitor on top is one of the new monitors we've just introduced. Then on my right is the Macintosh 2 SI. That's the most affordable Macintosh 2 we've ever offered, and the Macintosh 2 line is our highest performance, most flexible line of computers.
And the price point is about where on the
That is
TSI?
$37.69 suggested retail price.
Now, the first thing I notice, obviously looking at these things, Karen, is there's this peculiar little thing hanging on the monitors of the two color versions, the LC and the 2SI. What is that?
That's right. From the start, all Macintoshes have been able to speak to you because they have built-in speakers. Now you can speak back. We have built-in sound input, and those are actually microphones, so you can add your comments to spreadsheets, word processing documents, and other types of applications.
So these Macs come standard with a microphone?
The LC and the 2SI do, and the software has a sound input, so you can take advantage of that on all Macintoshes.
Show us on the LC how you would use that.
Sure thing. This happens to be an address stack that will ship with all these products. So let's say I'm a small business at home and I want to store all my clients' names. Now, one thing that I can't do today is pronounce last names, and sometimes I have problems remembering. So I'll go in here to a new audio palette, which lets me actually record and do basic audio editing. And I'll bring that up and say, hopefully right, Stewart Cheifet.
Okay.
Did I get
you got
that?
it right.
So now that waveform, if I play it back, is Stewart Cheifet. Now I don't really need to save the Stewart part, so I can go up here now and actually cut sound like I've done in the past with text and graphics.
So you're just going to edit the piece of sound.
So I'll cut that out and say OK, and now when I play it back, Cheifet. And then I can go ahead and close this. And yes, I want to save it. I'll give it your initials. And that will save it in there. So we think that sound will be a very powerful form of communications on Macintoshes.
So that's a piece of sound that's now on that card in that stack.
That's right. And there's the icon. Now I can move that around anywhere in the stack. And I'll leave it here so when I click on it, Cheifet, I can remember that from now on.
Show us quickly what's on the 2SI, Karen.
Okay, we think all of these Macintoshes are very powerful and can run databases in the home. Let's say you're a business and you're trying to store your information. Here, for example, you could be a realtor or a builder and want to have properties stored on here. So I can click on a particular property that I'm interested in, and what it will bring up is very vivid color pictures of the property, the floor plan, as well as information about it. These two systems have 256 color support built in, so you can get very realistic pictures.
Karen, now Apple has a lot of history in the 2 line, of course, in the education and school market. And I know you have something on the LC, which is kind of neat. I'd like to see that's really designed for that part of the home market.
That's right. And in fact, we have a new Apple II card that we will sell for the Macintosh LC that lets you take all your Apple IIe software and run it on the Macintosh LC, because we feel very strongly for those people in the past who had...
What are we hearing here, Karen? You're getting upstaged by some...
Okay. This is Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter, and it's running on a Macintosh, and you can listen to the entire thing now.
Now, my dears, said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, you may go into the field or down the lane.
Oh, I want one.
You can
now,
also,
can you play with it, sort of HyperCard style?
Sure, you can click on it. There's an ear. So it's a great program for kids to learn how to read. And here's an apron or Mrs. Rabbit. And I think this is Peter.
Peter.
Yeah. So we think that we'll reach many more people with all of these Macintoshes in the home market.
Karen, thank you very much for being here.
Thank
All right,
you.
that's our look at the new home computer market. Stay tuned now for this week's computer news.
In the random access file this week, Compaq has introduced its new notebook-sized computer, the LTE-386S20. It's a high-performance notebook built around the 20 megahertz Intel 386SX microprocessor. It includes VGA graphics and a 30 megabyte hard drive, and uses technology originally developed for the defense industry to fold the circuit board in half to take up less space. But its price is still a big $6,500. Intel has announced a set of Compaq microprocessor chips that will allow allow manufacturers to introduce even smaller laptop computers. The 386 SL uses only 10 chips plus memory on one circuit board measuring 4 by 6 inches. When Intel introduced the 386 microprocessor in 1985, 170 chips were used. Apple hopes to shake its image as a manufacturer of high-priced computers with the introduction of 3 new Macintosh systems. At a list price of $999, the Mac Classic is the least expensive Mac yet. In the low-end configuration, it comes with 1 megabyte of RAM and 1 super drive. You can also get the Mac Classic with a 40 megabyte hard drive and 2 megs of RAM for $14.99. The Classic will replace both the Mac Plus and the SE. Apple also unveiled the Mac LC, a $2,500 color system with limited expandability, and the Mac 2 SI, a mid-range color Mac with 1 expansion slot for $3,800. Taking a look at this week's top 10 software titles for the PC, PC Connection reports that Quarterdeck's Expanded Memory Manager is in the #1 position, followed by Windows 3.0. In third is PC Tools Deluxe 6.0, with WordPerfect 5.1 coming in fourth. In fifth is Norton Utilities 5.0. Rounding out the top 10 titles are Facelift, Procom Plus, PCFile 5.0, DeskView 386, and Quicken 3.0. PC Magazine reports that Microsoft will announce an upgrade to its DOS-based Word processor that sports a Windows-like menuing interface. Microsoft Word 5.5 will feature pull-down menus similar to the interface used in the Windows version, although menu choices will be represented in character, not graphical mode. Next up, Paul Schindler and this week's software review.
Sorry, I guess I thought I was Tex Murphy, PI, in San Francisco in the year 2033. Just another suave guy in a trench coat. That's what you'll think, too, if you try Mean Streets, a great variation on the theme of adventure games. Now, it's big. It takes 3 megs of disk and 512K of memory. You can see and hear why from the moment the game begins with movie-style credits. It's all up there on the screen. And the vendor's proprietary Real Sound system produces very realistic sound effects. As Tex, you get around in a flying speeder. You can operate it like a flight simulator, or just set it on autopilot using nav codes. Go see Sandra Larson, the dead professor's girlfriend, accept an incoming fax as well. Check the street scene. Ask questions, bribe, threaten, get maced. Here's the arcade segment. Crouch, walk forward, fire. Use your video phone to call your informant, visit the professor's apartment, and examine objects. Mean Streets is $60 from Access Software in Bountiful, Utah. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
Microsoft, best known for its operating systems and business software, has introduced a game package for Windows and another for DOS. 7 games were released in the Windows Entertainment Pack, all developed by Microsoft programmers in their spare time. A second package of game software has been unveiled for children using DOS-based computers. Microsoft's game shop includes 6 games that combine the fun of playing computer games with the challenge of problem solving. Finally, the Olympic torch was recently carried through the streets of Glasgow, Scotland, but not by your typical runner. More than 50 robots from around the world took part in the first annual Robotics Olympics. Events included 2-legged and multi-legged sprints, wall climbing, and obstacle avoidance. Maybe there will be some new competitors in Barcelona in 1992. That's it for this week's Computer Chronicles. I'm Maria Gabriel.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by the Software Publishers Association, which reminds you it's a federal offense to copy software. The SBA provides information on how to stay software legal. Funding is also provided by PC Connection and Mac Connection, and by Byte Magazine and Pix. For a transcript of this week's Computer Chronicles, send $4 to PTV Publications, Post Office Box 701, Kent, Ohio 44240. Please indicate program date.